Hi, Tom Hugart here. Wanted to do some live trading. The FTSE and the DAX have been trading for an hour. I want to take you through the charts and I want to show you what I'm thinking. So here we got the FTSE on a 5-minute chart. It is, since the open, pushing higher, 2-bar reversal, pushing higher, 2-bar reversal, pushing higher. The DAX have had a trading range so far, a lot of back and forth. I'll show you on a 10-minute chart. Looks like potentially at the top of the range, but the bulls are making new highs for the day. Not sure I would want to fight that. I want to show you what it looks like on a day chart. We're coming up to yesterday's high at 18. That could possibly be a short area where the bulls would take profit. In fact, I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to sell short here at 19. Okay, see if I can get 9. No, wouldn't give me. And I'll put a stop loss in a second. And then we got the FTSE here. Just made a new high and coming off a little bit. So we have 3 bull bars, and let's change this. We have 3 strong bull bars. My argument for selling short the DAX here was simply just because we are at yesterday's high. So what the DAX will do what the DAX will do. We've had a lot of overlap bars. Bull bar, bear bar, bull bar, bear bar, bear bar, bull bar, bull bar, sorry, bear bar, bull bar, and so forth. And so whilst the DAX has been pushing higher, it's been a somewhat back and forth trading range session. Whilst the FTSE has been somewhat more determined, had 3 or 4 bull pushes, a couple of bear bars, push higher, close on its high or near the high, a couple of retracements. But let me focus my energy a little bit on the DAX because I think it's interesting to draw some lessons from this. You have a bear bar and a bull bar here, and the moment we step above the high of the prior bull bar, sellers come in. But what's then interesting is that the moment we step below the low of this particular bear bar here, right here, the buyers come in. And I think that's what set in motion this latest push higher. But to me, it could still feel like the context of a trading or of a channel, you know, in a sense, in a trading range. Time will tell. So there we go. So now we have them side by side. DAX is pushing higher. I think my entry is around here. Yes, it is. This is a 10-minute chart. You see it's a pretty bullish closes. And this current 5-minute bar will close in 1 minute and 20 seconds. FTSE making a new high. Probably going to be tempted to sell short the FTSE here. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because you often see that the market just stall at the prior bar's high, you're seeing here, and I'm selling into that. And especially because I'm thinking we do have a sort of larger perspective sell signal in the DAX because we're at the previous day's high. There's also, if I put on, you could also argue that this sell-off low here had a low of 14,323 and the high here is 14,320. So you know the old saying that old support is new resistance. Yeah. One of the really important things to remember when we are studying old charts is that our perception of time is distorted. We are merely observing the whole day as it happens within a moment or two. But when you are sat here and you are talking your way through it, it just gives you a very different perspective of the marketplace. You know, you have to experience time as it really is happening. So right now my FTSE position is not looking particularly sweet. Well, DAX is okay. So I'm going to add a little bit to the DAX position here. Kind of wish that the FTSE would play ball, but it isn't, so I may need to close that. So there were really worse sellers up there in the DAX. I wonder if the FTSE is even able to push higher if the DAX is coming off it. So this is the DAX on a 5-minute chart, and this is the FTSE on a 5-minute chart. So if you're sitting thinking, where's my stop loss? I am sat with my finger hovering over the exit button. So buyers pushing the DAX high again, above again. So here they are. Actually a pretty strong trend day. I'm wondering if I should begin to think to be a buyer rather than a seller. I can't deny the importance of the previous day high, but I probably need to give the market some time to digest that. Looking at my trading account. Looking at FTSE. To me, it would be really nice to see the DAX come below 14,300, maybe 295 before I start adding again. But the FTSE is a pickle. Let's look at the chart. So you have two strong bull bars, but I'm not able to actually draw on these charts. I'm not a big fan of drawing on charts. I just need them to be as clear as possible. But it still gets this sense of, well, okay, you have a trading range here in this area here, and then you try to push above it, and you immediately met with resistance. So the 5-minute chart will close in 25 seconds. And if that was the case, I would want to add to my short position in the FTSE. If we were to close right here, well, let's see what happens. You can also keep an eye on the DAX price up here. So here we go. I'm going to still short some more in the FTSE. And the reason why I'm doing that is because of the way that this candle closed. We had a micro double top here. We attempted to push above it, and that failed. Now please go down. Let's take a look at the DAX. 2 bear bars. We've had 2 bear bars before, so we need to be careful not to get too overexposed on the short side. FTSE is immediately pushing higher. This is a brilliant way of learning, because you essentially got nothing but higher lows, higher low. Oh, there we go. So when you're in a bull trend, or in a bear trend for that matter, you often see that you'll have 2 bar reversals. So it's going to be crucial for the DAX, for the bulls, is to get this pushed above 14,310 or so. I think that's it. And right now the bulls are stepping in and supporting the 14,300. So far successfully. So the DAX bulls needs to get the DAX above 14,315 again. We just tested 298. FTSE seems to be meeting some sellers as well. Hope that this volume comes through okay. Let's take a look at the account. Nothing majorly happening. So if I was going to argue that my DAX short position was a scalp, I would probably want to take profit around this trading range area. But I do believe that was a rather significant development, that we touched yesterday's highs. Let's see if we get some kind of congruence from the FTSE. I'd really like to see the FTSE start trading below the high bar here, especially if it closed below it. That would be brilliant. Okay, so the idea of selling short the DAX at the old, at yesterday's high, so far seemed okay, but let's not get complacent at all. So we now have, at this point in time, 3 bear bars, but here's the thing to remember, that this bar isn't closed yet. It won't close for another minute and a half. So you may well see that the people who, or the algorithms, may push this higher. Let's take a look at the. But I think I need to be true to what it is I do. So I would like to add to my position. but I don't want to get too carried away. Just gonna pause for a sec. Okay, back. Let's take a look at there. So this is what I argued a moment ago. You can't really, when you trade on close, yeah, you have 3 bear bars, but do you see how in the final 10 seconds, I'll show you on a 1 minute chart because it's crucial, that 1 minute bar, all of a sudden they pushed it back up again. It's such a classical pattern from those that want to push the market in one direction or another. You don't see it so much in the FTSE, but you do see it. I don't know if it's algorithm or what it is, but hey, look, it is what it is. That's the game we play. So you can argue that you can argue that the FTSE is just in a trading range, and I think my DAX short is in trouble here. Of course, you also have to bear in mind that this is on a day where the Dow right now pre-market is up 150 points, S&P is up 20 points, Nasdaq is up 87 points. So there's definitely a buy the dip mentality. Let's show you the account. So I'm really happy that I captured this on video, this phenomenon that in the final 40 seconds of this 5 minute candle, we pushed it back up again, because down here it was beginning to look a bit negative, and whoosh, now it's looking very different. So we're coming back up to the old highs, and I think that my short position is in danger. FTSE is following in the footsteps of the DAX. Now it's just a question of how many sellers do we have up here above yesterday's high. So certainly the premise for my short position is no longer there. Let me show you on a 10-minute chart. You just have a 1 bar correction, so this could set up to be a trend day where you simply just have to keep buying above the highs. So the FTSE is making new highs for the day. Can't expect the DAX to follow suit. So I'm going to close my FTSE position, my short. I'm going to buy that back now. Just say I was wrong. Now let's look at the DAX. So I'm going to reduce my DAX position, basically closing it at break even, and then get back to it and see, well, what do we feel about that? So what I pay attention to here is that the DAX has seen buyers above, so just below the low of this prior bar. Let's get bought up here. We do have a double top, but I imagine that in a channel you're gonna see the market keep pushing higher. I think the right thing to do would be to buy the DAX. So I'm gonna buy it here at 12. Okay. I want to get a bigger picture perspective of the FTSE. So this is the daily chart of the FTSE. Let me just show you. So the FTSE is actually pretty close. Let me show you the weekly chart. FTSE has completely recovered from the sharp sell-off. Has put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bull bars on a weekly chart. Very strong. Perhaps that in itself could be warranted a very short position for the double top. We have a high here of 33, a high here of 86, 15, and 35. So we are above a couple of the weekly bars, but still a little bit below the highest, a lot of them. Let's go back to a 5-minute bar and then see what the DAX is doing. The DAX looks like it wants to make new highs for the day. Have the FTSE side by side. So it is, so probably add a little bit to my short position. Just want to wait a little bit and not actually add at the highest, but maybe just add at a retracement if I can. When you're doing it in real time, time doesn't pass so fast as when you're sat just observing it at the end of the day, huh? That's the danger of attending weekend courses, that it just appears so simple. Reality is, when you're doing it in real time, it's a very different proposition. Now it's just a question of being patient. On the FTSE you have some pretty long candles. I'm beginning to wonder if I should sell short the FTSE again. Let me look at that on a 5-minute chart. You have this one bar here. I could have a stop loss of just about 4 or 5 points. I think I want to do that. I'm going to sell at 40.6 and 40.5. See if I can get a better entry. .6, 40.9, 41. Okay. Probably want to have a stop loss up here, so I'm just risking a handful of points. I want to build up the position a little bit. We'd like to get it up to 1,000. So the idea here is I'm selling short the FTSE and I simply have a stop loss up here about 46, 47. Doesn't look like I'm gonna get everything I want. Let's look at the DAX. Seems like DAX is struggling a little bit at this triple top. We've been trading around 15, 16 area. But you have to be ever so patient on days like this. See if I can get 40 again. I'm just trying to see if I can get a slightly better price than the FTSE. Also beginning to wonder the state of the DAX. Because you have some pretty long bars here and it just suggests that we are in a trading range. So there you go, I have a slightly better price than that. So there's my 1,000 a point. Let's keep an eye on that. No new highs, please. So I'm wondering, is this a double top in the DAX? In which case I really need to see it close below this low here. The FTSE just seems to be in somewhat of a trading range. Yeah, let me show you the FTSE. Very tight channel. Strong, and yet I'm short. Guess time will tell. Not so sure about my long position in the DAX anymore, but it is still a trading range, so I'm just gonna be patient. When you're seeing videos or attending weekend seminars, one thing that people cannot teach is that sensation you get when you're just sat watching and watching and watching and waiting and waiting and waiting. A lot of watching and waiting, and your mind can play a lot of tricks with you while you're watching and waiting. So right now I'm in this position that I'm actually short the FTSE and I'm long the DAX. And this is what it looks like. And I'm beginning to wonder if I should be along the DAX, but it's still a trading range. I don't want to increase my position in the FTSE just yet. But this is the area where the DAX really needs to hold. See if there's any buyers that show up. Not good. But this bar won't close for another 4 minutes, so a lot of things can happen in these 4 minutes. I want to see if there's buyers that show up here. I want to increase my short position in the FTSE. swap that to a 1 minute chart. So here's a perspective of the DAX. Have a fairly tight channel. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is anything but a push against the trend. If you look at the 1 minute chart, you do have pushes against the trend here, here, and here. This is a 1 minute chart on both. Let's just see the price action itself. I want to increase my position in the FTSE. So now the 5 minute bar has closed. Let me show you on a 10 minute bar. It actually looks so far as a reversal bar. I think I'm going to take my loss in the DAX and then reverse short. And I want to add to my short position in the FTSE. This is a 5 minute chart. Just this bar here closed below the low of that, and that. So that's a fairly significant close. The 10 minute bar hasn't closed yet. The same in the FTSE. It'd be nice to see if I could get the FTSE down and testing this area here. I think it actually did. I think I was just too busy talking and instructing. Let's see. Let's observe this for a bit. So this is a 10-minute chart on the FTSE, and this is a 10-minute chart on the DAX right now. That's a pretty horrible looking candle if you are bullish. So that candle closes in 2 minutes. What I'm afraid of is that this is going to be perceived as a trading range buy opportunity. We'll see. We'll change it to a 5-minute. I think I'm going to start taking a little bit of profit in the FTSE. And the reason why I want to take some profit in the FTSE is because the 5-minute candle is just about to close, and you often see the market kick back a bit. But the DAX doesn't look happy at all. So this 5-minute bar is about to close now in 20 seconds. Here we go. I'm going to add to my short position on the DAX at 81. Seems to be the right thing to do. I always pay very close attention to when the candles close. That's why I have a digital clock on my desk. I keep an eye on it. So DAX is falling, the FTSE is just holding off. Let's take a look at the bigger picture in the DAX. Let me get rid of my face. You don't need to see me sit here and being worried. Oh. Should be quite a lot of support down here. I think I'm going to take some profit in my DAX. Okay. Still have my short position. In the FTSE. FTSE is actually looking good. Let's take a look at the DAX. So if I was to sum up what we're seeing here, it is that we had a big sell-off on Wednesday. On Thursday we staged a rebound. Friday we have now tested the highs of Thursday, in particular in the DAX, which I've just exited. I'm still short the FTSE, and the FTSE is looking good. The reason for getting out of the DAX was because of this support area here. Could have probably been a little cooler. I didn't do well there. Shit. Silly Billy. You know, when you have that gut feeling saying, don't get out, or at least get back in again, crystallize the profit, but then get in some parts. I sat with that sensation. That's why I like filming this as well, because it also exposes my own flaws, of which there are many. Let's have a look at the FTSE. Looking okay. Sorry, that's just me fixing a mouse. I'm not being aggressive, just fixing a mouse. Just get the sense that we need to be short. I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart. maybe a 1 minute chart, just get a sense of this. I exited around 65 up to 70. I'm going to take a short position in the DAX now, and I will add to it at a better price if I can. All right, I'll remove my face. I think recording your trading is incredibly beneficial. And of course, I hope that this is going to be beneficial to anyone who can actually be bothered to sit through this and observe. I think it's been an interesting morning session because we have been bringing in higher time frames into our decision making. So let me make that clear. So here's the daily chart of the DAX. And I was actually initially of the opinion that we should sell short here, and then I got succumbed to the buying pressure, and I got out around here, maybe it was up here, and then I sold short because this bar here had closed below that didn't look good to me at all. The FTSE is in somewhat of a similar situation. Yeah. On a 5 minute chart, let me show you. Although I started selling up here, and I explained that at the time why. But even if I'd sold here at 32, which is where I added, there we go. There's a FTSE on a 5 minute, and here's the DAX on a 5 minute. And I have these positions. I once saw a documentary with a trader called Paul Tudor Jones. He was bearish the market, and he tried to push it up so that he could get a better price and fool people into buying. It was interesting to see. Why am I saying that? Well, because actually I would really like to be able to push the DAX up right now so I could get a better price. I only have one short position on, half a unit actually. I would like to have more. But the FTSE is compensating for that. But the interesting bit is that I closed my DAX around 65, and it's having a much better looking P&L than it is now if I hadn't closed it. So the DAX is now 100 points lower than it was 20 minutes ago. So I have this theory, technical analysis theory, is that if you have a trading range like this, and the market breaks above that, as it does here, like this, well, whatever we traveled above the trading range, if it then reverses, that is the distance it's going to have to travel below as well, at least. That would sort of be around there. So we'll see. We'll see. As I said, it's just a theory, okay? It's one of those things that you develop when you start trading. Let's get back to the real market. So this is the very big push up. What's interesting here is that if you look at this bar here, but in particular this bar here, see this bar here that I'm holding over right now, that's the open, and then the market tests the lows, push it up, but actually we are sat below the open now. That means that everyone that bought today are negative. That's one of the ways that trend days set up. From a trading point of view, well, it's not perfect, but it pays the bills. I'm just gonna pause for a second. I need a drink. Okay. So I paused the recording for a little while, just to, it was just like a few minutes. Let me show you the so here's the FTSE. On a 15-minute chart, you have two very bearish bars. Actually, that could be interesting. I like to go back whenever I see, for example, two 15-minute bars. I like to go back. Well, what would that have looked like yesterday? Okay, so this is not a good example because it's in the middle of the night, but there you have two negative bars. Okay, so what could have made you money? Okay, well, it could have made you money to sell the double top, micro double top here. Then you would have had a good scalp out of that. What else could I have done? Okay, so you have two negative bars here. You have two negative bars here. So what would bring this position in danger if we get above the high of one bar, potentially close above it? Let's have a look at here. Here we got a couple of negative bars, two bear bars on a 15-minute chart. So how would you make money from that? Well, if you did manage to get to sell a micro double top, that would have made money. Here's another one here. How would that have made money? Here you didn't have a double top like you had over here, but you could have made money if you then on the subsequent 15-minute bar had sold above the first 15-minute bar that stayed a counterbounce. So that's negative. So it might be a naive way of looking at the market, but I have this philosophy that the people who are in the market today, they were also in the market yesterday and the day before. And so, because we are creatures of habit, I think that we as human beings tend to repeat our behavior. And doing this kind of analysis sort of reinforces that belief. If you look at the DAX right now, so well, you have 2 or 3 negative bars that started with this sell-off here where we went short. I didn't get anywhere near out of it. I got out around here, 65, 66. But you see I missed all the way down here, so I would love to be back in, but I imagine that I would want to be a seller up here at 48. I imagine that that could be where there would be some orders resting. Okay, we'll see. I think what I'm going to do is take a break of 10-15 minutes and if I am to see that, oh, let's get rid of me. If I was to see the DAX up here at 50, which could actually come in the next few moments, I want to be a seller. Sure you've experienced this as well. Come on, get up there. Come on. Can I have 50? I feel at times like I'm an auctioneer. One of those auctioneers. I've had 40. Can I have 41? I have 41 for this lady over in the back. Oh, I got 42. I got 43 from the gentleman with the bow tie. Do I hear 44? Come on. Give me 50. Maybe I do have a future ahead of me at Sotheby's auctioneer house. It's not really happening. I decided to record this video because I wanted people to get a sense of what it's like to be a day trader. Because I feel that many people are glorifying day trading, and it's actually enormously taxing on your patience. And at all times having to keep a clear head, have to keep your emotions under control. and not overtrade. It looks so easy, especially after the fact. But whilst you're in it, it is testing most of our human faculties, our ability to stay focused, our ability to concentrate, same thing as staying focused, our ability not to overact, our ability to keep our emotions in control, and the list is long. I'm probably just scratched the surface. Also, when you are in a winning position, our ability to not be tempted to take profit for no other reason than you just want to take the profit. And I'm certainly guilty of this recording, which is why I want that bit of the recording. I don't want to edit anything away. I want it to be a testament to anyone who is contemplating trading and saying, this is not so easy. Sure, good money, absolutely, especially when you are able to trade the size that I'm trading. But don't think for 1 second that you're just going to wander in and and make a heap of money very quickly. Oh God, that reminds me, I read some reviews of a company called Learn to Trade or something like that, or Knowledge to Action. Wow, there are some people who have truly developed a business model that is pandering to the people who want to make quick money. I'm not saying that the company that did it is wrong. I'm not saying that the people who are falling for the allure of quick money are wrong, but I do think that people at times would be kinder to each other. It's pretty heartbreaking to read about a woman from New South Wales who has attended one of those workshops, free workshops, which basically is just a selling pitch for a weekend course, and is being tempted to take out a loan in order to pay for the course. You have to ask yourself, if no one would tell this woman, hey lady, do you think it's a good idea that you take out a loan to attend the course on trading? Because where are you going to fund the trading account with if you have to take a loan just to attend? Maybe I'm just being old and grumpy. Very likely. Very likely. On a 15-minute chart, it's just, no, it did actually get up to 51, you little sucker, and I didn't see it. Maybe I was just yip-yapping away. I must get into actually doing this with orders. Just to put in an order at 50. Let's see the FTSE. The FTSE is probably also a sell around here. I have a pretty good average price. Let me change the time frame to a 5-minute. Oh God, you should have sold short there, mate. I'm just going to pause. I want to show you something. I'm just going to pause it for a sec. So I just Googled day trading courses, and so these are some of the things that concerns me. What was it? There was one down here. Weekly money multiplier is your shortcut to the living the life you want. Part-time day trading, how to become a profitable trader You can do this in 15 minutes a day. Really? Because, you know, I'm doing this for a huge amount of hours a day. Maybe that's where I've gone wrong. I should have just taken that course. Oh, I wonder how much that's going to cost me. Probably a bargain compared to what I could make. Oh, this one is a good one. Day trading secrets. Yeah. Never heard that one before. Oh, there's that gentleman there. Never actually seen him trade in his life. The ultimate stock trading course for beginners. Right. Boot camps. There's no shortage of people that want to teach you how to trade. Let me just Google something else. Ah, this is the one. Here you get a certificate, and here, make big money in trading and be financially free. Da da da. Oh, I'm too cynical. I'm just too cynical. All right, learn to trade, empowering futures. Da da da. Oh, here I get a certificate. Academy, learn to trade, trading education, forex signals. Wow. Six ways for combining part-time forex trading with a full-time job. Forex school online. Wow, there's a lot of courses, huh? Find out why our forex clients are 103% more profitable. I think if I was going to take a course, I might take her course. Sorry, ladies. That's such a douche thing to say, isn't it? But you know, Jessica. That could be what I would be tempted to click on. Oh, and there's the helicopter trader. Yeah, let's I'm not gonna bother clicking on that. So I'm just killing a bit of time here. Just being funny. The grumpy old fart that I am is just taking the mick. It's not like I haven't run a course myself, you know, so talk about me being a hypocrite. I'm not saying that my education is any better than anyone else. And I do believe that you do need a certain degree of education. You do need to know what you're looking for. But I think the hardest part of trading is just staying level-headed as it happens. Now, here's a gentleman I like. That's Paul Tudor Jones. Oh, there's one here. The trading courses that peddle and what? That's definitely our helicopter trader. There you go. A little trip down courses. Let's get back to it, huh? Okay, so this is the point where I want to be a seller. Re-establishing my short position. I really messed up on that 5-minute chart in the FTSE. But I have a fairly big boat anyway. So here's a 15-minute chart, and I've just sold above the high. I want to tell you a story. A long time ago, obviously because I'm so old, a long time ago, children, I worked with a gentleman who used to be a floor trader in London for a big American conglomerate called Citigroup. And he was a rather entertaining fella. His name was Pete. Won't give you his surname, but I don't think I'm giving too much away by calling him Pete. So one day, I sat on the trading floor, and Pete barks over someone executing a large position. And then one of my colleagues barks back, "What's his stop loss?" Because with such a sizable position, you want to have a stop loss in. To which Pete barks back, "Stops. What are you? A fucking boss?" That was Pete in a nutshell. Yeah. According to Pete, stops were for bosses. Not sure that I agree with that, but it's nevertheless a good story. And good stories I have in abundance when it comes to my time on the trading floor. It was another story that I remember with fondness is a gentleman called Mark. He was a really interesting character and funny to boot as well. So he told a story about how in a previous place he had worked. And there will be some obscene language coming now, just so you know, so fair warning. The head trader at the previous outfit that he had worked at had said, "So, John, how much have you made for today?" John was negative. "All right, Mark, how much money have you made today?" Mark was negative. "All right, George, how much have you made today?" And George was negative. And then the head trader said, "Right, well, fortunately for you, I made money for all of us." Every time I heard that story, I laughed. Because it's just so sums up that whole macho image. Like, okay, maybe I should do a little less talking. Right now we are going through the insufferable sensation of just watching a market composing itself after a decent sell-off. And of course, I'm thinking we're headed back down again. Lots of people that are driving this market here are probably people covering their short positions. And you know, and if this has been a course, of course, some smarty pants instructor would have said, "And as you're seeing, we should have bought right there because old resistance is new support." So yeah, fine. Oh, I want to show you something. Just gonna get the camera. There we go. So one way that I train myself is that I have these printed out. They are A3, so there's plenty of space, and I sit there and I write on it, what would I have done there, what did I do there, and I mark my old trades. Well worth it. And you can also take joy in the fact that you are supporting the local economy, especially the print man, and every time he sees me enter the shop with a USB key, I swear I can see him beginning to salivate and going this, because he knows he's going to make a lot of money from my printing. There you go. Not particularly glorified, this, is it? Just sitting here, observing, waiting. Lots of waiting. Just sat in a t-shirt, no helicopter, no Lamborghini, no, I don't know, no Rolex or Philippe Patek, no swimming pool in the background either. What else? What else do I see? All these gurus. What else are they doing? I don't know. Not interested. You really gotta love this to do it, you know that? You gotta think this is fun. Not doing so well on my DAX. And my FTSE profit is disappearing again. What I like about this exercise here is that it really does give you some hardcore training in to what price action is all about. And so what I often do is when I sit there, I'll take a piece of paper, because otherwise my eyes are just going to draw to jump to the conclusion. So I'll sit there and I reveal one bar at a time. Oh, what have I done here? Oh, what have I done here? Oh, what have I done here? Hard work? Yeah. Worth it? Oh yes. Definitely. That's true master trader education. I tell you that. You're really pushing the boundaries of education. And that's for day traders. I did a podcast yesterday. Let me just do this. I did a podcast yesterday, and I was interviewed alongside a macro investor. And I said, well, I don't really make these perspectives. A macro investor, he couldn't give a hoot about what the DAX did this morning, but to me, that's a 20,000 euro movement. And the same in the FTSE, that's like a 20,000 pound movement right there. That with the current open profit and the profit I've already taken, I mean that's a move that can make your day, or for some people your year. So it was very difficult to convince the head of the podcast that actually I don't have any sort of considerations. All I do is to stare at the interaction of the 5-minute bars or 10-minute bars. I think that must be an awkward thing to hear for anyone. Like that you can make a life out of purely observing what you're seeing on a price chart. But nevertheless, that's That's a fact. And what's also interesting now is that, well, beforehand, the DAX was the one that was struggling and the FTSE was marching ahead. Now, the FTSE is the one that's not budging. Yeah. So let's just take a snapshot here. I'm losing on my DAX. Have locked in quite a sizable amount of profits. But right now, I am down. And my FTSE is doing okay. And I'm not particularly interested in adding to my FTSE right now. It just feels like a bit of a morning low. I might actually finish this recording soon. I think I'll give it another 20 minutes. I'm just going to pause for a couple of minutes. So I'm back. You're going to have to put up with me eating a bit. I eat these funny things. Totally raw, totally homemade. I take a big bowl and I put in all sorts of powders. Lucama powder, mushroom powders, and then I mix them with linseed oil, some nuts, lots of linseed seeds that I already ground up, also flax seeds, all sorts of powders. And then I also put some coconut fat in there, and then I let it settle, and then mix it into these, what you're seeing here. Very high in fat. Turmeric. Put turmeric in it. I don't know what kind of video this is going to be. DAX is not doing what I wanted to. Not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. There's a 15-minute chart of the FTSE and a 15-minute chart of the DAX. Here are my open positions. What you'll notice that this video is remarkably absent of is, and then I sold right here and look at how great I am. Or, as you can see, this is a pretty obvious place to sell. Yeah, rarely is. Cheers. I'm going to remove that. I'm sure you don't want me to see me eat. FTSE is a lot weaker. I think I don't want to sell the short the FTSE. I'm already short the FTSE from up here. Let me just see what my entry price is. 35. So I'm short from about here. I actually started shorting about there. I really hope that this instruction video will be a benefit to you in explaining why I sold short up there. I thought that was a good trade. So here's the status. My DAX position is not doing well at all. Here's the chart, 5-minute chart. I got nothing but higher lows all the way. And on the 15-minute chart, it's a pretty good rebound. And that premise that I had been working from doesn't seem to hold true anymore. I'm going to sell short the FTSE here at 27. Kind of been waiting for that opportunity. That's just a question. Of course, what I don't want to see is the DAX keep moving higher, because then in turn that's going to push the FTSE higher as well. But the idea of selling short the FTSE here is above the highest of these 15-minute candles. It could be that the last add-ons are just a scalp short, and I'm contemplating covering everything. The 30-minute chart and the 15-minute chart, we're coming up to the full hour in a couple of minutes. I want to see what happens there. So let me show you the scoreboard. I'm actually more or less break even now. Not a proud moment. Okay, one is in euros and one is in pounds. Not that there's such an enormous difference between them. Let me see the FTSE on. So it's gonna be interesting now, I think, because in a few moments, the hourly chart, half-hour chart, 15 minutes, I mean, everything is, we're coming up to the full hour. So it's going to be interesting to see how are they reacting to that. How they're going to react to this pattern in the DAX. Are they going to think we're going to go up to old highs? Or are they going to sell it off? And the same here in the FTSE. So here we go. So this is currently trading at 25. Down here is the low, is the 20. I'd love to see it go down to the lows. Oh, good. I'm glad that I was able to capture this on video. This idea of keeping an eye on the full hour close. I'll show you on a 30-minute chart. I'm gonna start closing some of this. I think I'm not overly convinced one way or another. While I'm clicking, excuse me, so while I'm clicking my way through 14 clicks, I'll tell you the purpose of this video. The purpose was simply to illustrate what my process is, because it's so easy to get swept up by the idea that you have to wait for the perfect pattern to happen, but the reality is a lot of it is a lot more of a fluid status. There we go. Taking its time. I might just keep 800 or so. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been going on for an hour and 45 minutes. I've paused it a few times just to, you know, get a drink and get a bit to eat, but otherwise it's been real time. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me. You take care now. Bye bye.